Good morning, folks. How you doing? Today I want to talk a little bit about us retired folks living full-time in a RV. I know a lot of people have heard about it, thought about it, and it sounds kind of good, but maybe you're a little nervous about it or have questions about it. So we've been doing this full-time for about 6 months now, and we love it. It really has worked out great. We kind of part-time full-time for a couple of years, and then we've been seriously RVing for about 10 years with 2 different Class A motorhomes. We currently have a 42-foot Monaco Camelot that we've had about 3 years, and it's the perfect motorhome for us. If you're thinking this is something you want to do, and this is mostly for people that are retired and are going to live full-time in their RV. It's not a video about how to live on $10,000 a year or live super cheap, because it's not super cheap. It's inexpensive, but it's not super cheap. One of the first things you need to do is come up with what you can afford, how much of a budget you got, what's your annual income, and if your annual income is somewhere at least $35,000 to $50,000, this video is pretty much for you. If you've got more than that, then that just means there's more fun stuff that you can go do while you're traveling around the country. But if you've got $35,000 to $50,000 in disposable income, and this is something that's interesting to you, you can make it happen, and you can have a fun life. But once you kind of know how much of a budget you've got, let me show you this. This is our expenses we're tracking. We post this once a month on YouTube, and I have a blog, jrpacaddel.com. But YouTube is the easiest and best way probably to follow our travels. We've got quite a few videos up there now. And our budget, this is what we've spent since we've been doing it, and it averages about $45,000 a year. If we continue spending what we've been spending, we should hit right around $45,000 a year. Now we're going to have the next 4 or 5 months is going to be quite a bit less, because we're headed down to South Texas and we won't be traveling so much, and so our fuel will be way down. And we're members in a club called 1,000 Trails, where we can camp for free all around the country. And I'll explain that a little bit more later in the video. And my wife just got back. She'd been walking the dog, and they're kind of cool here. We're going to be moving south pretty soon. It's been up in the 80s, and now it's down in the low 60s, and tomorrow's supposed to be in the 50s. Oh, and she indicates it's raining. So it's about time to move. So that's roughly what you're going to need for income. To give you an idea on what it costs to get a RV, what we've learned from talking to a lot of folks and seeing on the internet, a lot of RVs are built pretty cheap. I'm sure you don't find that hard to believe. They made with staples and little bitty thin wood and plastic and stuff, and glued together, stapled together. So you want to get something that was built good, that maybe we can't afford when that vehicle is new. We couldn't afford it. For example, we have a Monaco Camelot, and in new it was a little over 300,000, something like that. We bought it for half that. We bought it for 150,000. We've had it for 3 years. We've had some little bitty minor issues, but all of them added together is probably not $1,000, $1,500 over the last 3 years. Except for tires. You want to watch about tires. Tires last about 8 years. Each tire's got a date code on it, so you can look and see how old the tires are. But you don't want them that are over 8 or 9 years old. But I'm getting off track a little bit. Once you got your budget, if you buy a high-end, if you went with a Class A motorhome, a high-end Monaco, say a 2008 Signature, that costs $600,000 new. You can get it for $300,000 now. half price. That may be a little steep for a lot of us. It is for us. So you go down a few years. 2003 Monaco Signature cost $500,000, and you can get that for $132,000. That's a high-end coach. That's the sweet spot. If you can find that and you can afford $132,000, I'd say that'd be a good way to go. If that's still a little too much, you go back a couple more years. At 2000 Monaco Signature was $400,000 new. You can get it for $90,000 now. That's still a little too much. You can go down to your fifth wheels. You may already have a pickup or a tow vehicle. You can get, we see a lot, I don't know a lot about trailers and fifth wheels. We've never owned one, but I see a lot of Forest Rivers. So I looked this one up, 2012, 38 foot. The RVs I was talking about were all 40 foot. So a 2012 38 foot Forest River was $50,000 new, $20,000 now. And then you can get travel trailers that are even less. But I don't think if you're gonna live full time, you don't want to be going much less than that, in my opinion. I'm not familiar with trailers and fifth wheels, so I could be wrong. Fifth wheels by far is what you see the most of in RV parks. So that gives you an idea of what to spend and a place to go and find the prices, and you can start shopping. And you want to decide, when you're deciding what kind of vehicle you want, the length or the size, how many slides. Ours is 42.5 foot long. We have 4 slides in our rig. It's with the slides all in, we have 325 square feet, which our first Class 8 didn't have any slides, and that's about what we had, right at 300 square feet. And we thought that was plenty, but once we discovered the world of slides, that's not plenty. This motorhome here, like I said, is 425. We have a living room kitchen area that is just for 2 people, is a perfect size. That's where I'm sitting at right now. And just kind of, it's got a little pull-out thing. We've got a couch. Those 2 chairs up front turn around. So we got the couch, those 2 captain's chairs, and then this chair over here. So for 4 people, and then a couple of guests, even more than a couple of guests. We've had 5 or 6 guests in here several times. But for 2 people living here, this is a great size. The downside is that as you get older, you can get this national parks thing from the federal government for $10 for the rest of your life. I heard it's going up to $80. But you can go to all the national campgrounds, national forests and stuff, Zion National Park and all those kind of places, for you get in for free and you camp for half price. Wonderful deal. But a lot of the campsites are older, so their campsites are smaller. They're not set up for 40 foot RVs, 42 foot RVs. It seems like the sweet spot for full timing and getting into those kind of campsites is around 36 foot with 3 or 4 slides. I'm thinking that's kind of the perfect deal if you're going to be going to state national parks a lot. We were doing that until we found out about a thing we joined, 1,000 Trails. To tell you a little bit about 1,000 Trails is there's several ways to join. I'm going to tell you about the way that we joined. You can buy a membership. Membership costs new $6,000 to $10,000, and I've heard of even $12,000 memberships, and you get a lot with that. But people buy those and they can resell them when they're tired of traveling. They get older or medical or whatever reason they're tired of traveling. They can sell that. We bought one used for $4,000, and it was a high-end one. It's called the Sapphire Vacation Package, but it's the same as the Elite. It lets you stay at 1,000 Trails, has 81 campgrounds. Let you stay at any one of those campgrounds. They're located on the East Coast, the West Coast, Texas. You stay for free, and you can stay for 3 weeks at a time, and then you can leave one campground in the morning and go to another campground in the afternoon. You don't have to go out of the network or anything. Some of their memberships you have to be out for a week and different rules, but with the Elite, like we've got, you can stay at 1,000 Trails all year long if you wanted to and not spend any money. Some of the Thousand Trails campgrounds are not where you'd want to be, maybe, or you want to go visit somebody in the middle of the country or a little bit further away from where Thousand Trails is. They have the Thousand Trails collection, and that gives you an additional 100 campgrounds or the Encore campgrounds that are generally a step up from Thousand Trails for $199 a year. And here's a map of all those. And so now you've got 180 campgrounds that you can stay at for free. But they're not everywhere. There's another thing that we joined. It's called RPI, and it gives us a couple of more 100 campgrounds, and we can stay at those for $10 a night. And they're scattered even more through the middle of the country and all over the country, really. There's another club that we joined called Passport America, and they are everywhere. Here's Texas and California. You can see there's dozens and dozens of them in both those states. And you stay for half price. The problem with them, with Passport America, is they're more for an overnight. They're for 1 or 2 nights. You get the discount. And quite often it's maybe not on the weekends or not during the peak season. They have restrictions on them. But it only costs, RPI is $160, and this the Trails collection is almost $200. Passport America is just $40 a year. You get half price in hundreds of campgrounds. So that's what we use to save a little bit on our campground expenses. If you're living full time, it just is it's what makes it work for us. We probably couldn't or wouldn't do this if we didn't have Thousand Trails. Without it, just normal, you can get weekly rates. A campground average is $40. Some is 30, 25, 32, but a lot of them are 45, 55, and 60. But 40 is probably a good average for a decent campground. If you stay a week, quite often you can get 1 or 2 nights free, so say $200 a week. And then a lot of campgrounds have specials and stuff, monthly specials, where you can get for $400 to say $600, and you pay the electricity. So you can see that's $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 you can spend real easy on campsites. We pay $600. We've already paid for our membership, so now we just have annual dues of $600 a year with Thousand Trails, and that's all we have to pay, except for when we stay outside of Thousand Trails, which is occasionally because we want to go visit somebody that's not close to a Thousand Trails campground. So we'll have a few days or a week in just a regular campground. Maintenance is a big deal. You want to hopefully, or it can be a big deal, but you probably want to take care of some of the maintenance items yourself. And a wonderful, great site that we found is called IRV2, India, Romeo, Victor, and the number 2, IRV2.com. And here you can see it, and they've got forums on, virtually everything. One you'd use a lot is Full-Time Forum, and that's questions that people will have that are doing full, other people like you, hundreds of them that have got questions, and so you post a question, you look and see if somebody else has already, do a search, see if somebody else has already asked a question, or you start a new thread and you ask the question, and people will jump in and they'll give you their opinion. Some of them are wrong, but you read through them and you'll find plenty of them that are the right answer. You can kind of figure out what makes sense. Here you can see they've got all the different makes of the RVs and of the different systems. It's just a great site and a wealth of information that you'll want to use. IRV2. Insurance, you've got to figure out where to get your insurance. For us, it costs $1,200. We have not purchased full-time RV insurance. We just have our regular from Allstate insurance that they offer. So the downside to that is if somebody broke in and stole something, whatever we've got inside there that's expensive, it would be a loss. It's not, you know, there's a minimal amount of possessions that they cover, a couple $1,000 that our policy covers. So that, or if it burned down or something, it would be a loss. Or if somebody was inside our RV and got hurt somehow and wanted to sue us, probably wouldn't cover us for that. And but if it was outside, the RV parks is going to have insurance for that. We may get full-timers coverage when our policy comes up next. Most people, I think, do go with full-time coverage. It covers the highlights of what we're going to go over today: how to find your RV, how much it costs, or at least what it cost us, our opinions of, you know, what we have and what we're RVing in, and the maintenance. There's a ton of other things, and I know you've probably got a lot more questions. And if you leave any comments or questions or stuff, I'd love to share whatever research we've done with you or knowledge that we have. And we'll be making some more videos in the future. If you like these videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Should be a button up here or here somewhere. And when we put out a new vlog, you'll get an email and you can be able to keep up and enjoy our travels. We enjoyed doing it for you and hope it helps you out a little bit, and hope to see you down the road sometime. Thanks again. Have a good day. Bye-bye.